Today is Wednesday, May 18th, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 42, Week 11.
This episode's titled Caterpillar to a Butterfly, spoken by Maryanne. Kula Kula, night 21.
Lindsay is very, very happy.
Very happy. She says, that was wild. Wild.
Hugs everyone, thrilled that she picked the correct box, and her amulet is now an idol.
The best tribal council ever, she declares.
Certainly for her.
We get the flashback where Probst verifies that Mike was indeed telling the truth to Drea.
Yep. Which I kind of thought was odd during the episode because it was like, well, but how do you know that for sure? And I thought, oh, well, I guess the camera people confirmed it for him beforehand. So he would know who did or didn't have it.
Yep. I think they're in pretty much constant contact. But, yeah, I'm sure he gets some information dumped before they get rolling. Omer tells us it was a perfect tribal council and made him wanting to unleash his evil laugh. But his evil laugh didn't seem so evil.
But he said, my plan worked well.
Worked so well. I saved Mike. Yep.
Mike trusts me.
Well, Mike tells him it's our idol now.
So obviously he gave it back, but he tells us he's got to get rid of Mike or Jonathan.
He's got other plans. Go. Yeah, he's looking to pull them apart.
Gotta go.
Mike did tell him, he acknowledged it. Everyone was talking about it. He got credit for it. Omer got credit for that.
Yeah, he did.
That was on everyone's mind.
And which, that's points with the jury, so can't have that. And I was happy to see Mike say that Omar will cut me because I'm too likable. Mm-hmm. People like me, and he's not going to take me to the end.
That's pretty rare, isn't it? That someone's got an accurate assessment of how they might be viewed by the others.
Yeah, maybe. But
I don't think that was eco or anything. That seems, given
I didn't
what
think so. I think that
shown.
he was just telling it like he saw it.
Mm-hmm. And he had an accurate assessment from what we've been shown.
And then he goes and tells Maryanne that, he's going to come after me.
Omer's coming for me.
And then you're going to be after me.
I like this. And I think this is actually the groundwork for this whole episode happens in that brief exchange between those two. And it's a question, who gets credit for the end result of this?
Maryanne or Mike?
Maryanne or Mike, as we're going through it. And it was more evident to me who I thought it was when we just did a quick replay of it.
I think they're both going to try to claim it, though.
Yep.
If they
Let's
both
come back to this at the end.
To the final.
Let's come back to this at the end. I think this is pivotal, where they're having that conversation where he shares, Omer's coming for me, and then he'll come for you, and Maryanne's hesitant. This is worth noting.
Like, but I've been with Omar since the beginning.
Been locked in with him since day one. Mike said, well, I have since emerged, too.
I like that she said, I need to think about it. And then we see her saying, well, Mike is right. I can't beat Omar.
And Mike also says, you have to be delicate with this. It has to be a nudge. You can't push too hard. You got to pace it.
Right.
And he's trying to get this. He's trying to plant this seed.
Well, obviously she made a real connection because this is where she then shares with Mike that she has an extra vote.
Yep. Yeah, it had an impact. And this is where we get the title where she's talking about how big a move it was for Omer.
Yeah, that the jury sees Omar as a caterpillar that has turned into a butterfly. He has
elevated. Yes.
Yep. So I think Drea's strategy worked pretty good, to put a target on him. Hey,
Yes.
you did me wrong.
Yes. Well, it seems to be at work against both of them because Omar's got plans too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but then I thought Maryanne was going to totally tell Omar everything. She tells Omar, Lindsay, and Romeo that Mike's paranoid. So I thought she was going to tell him,
Yeah.
that,
Spill the beans.
yeah. And but what she tells him is that Mike's really paranoid and he's going to play the idol, which is a perfect excuse if they've seen them huddled off talking. That's a good thing to tell.
Good cover. Yep.
Yeah, good, very good cover.
And we get a quick confessional from Lindsay after that where she says, well, I need Jonathan gone to win. She's underselling herself, huh?
Well, and then Mike tells Jonathan the whole plan, but Jonathan doesn't trust Omar or Lindsay, he tells us. He's got to get both of them out for him to have any chance to win.
Yeah, because Omar's stock is so far up. Everybody's talking about how much that boosted Omar.
Were you surprised that they all felt that way? We weren't necessarily being shown that they were all seeing Omar as a threat. We thought he was a little more under the radar, but from this, it doesn't sound like he was even before she did that.
I don't know about
Not
that.
as much.
I don't know about that. Well, they had always talked about there was going to come a time, obviously, with the Taku 4, we're going to, as Jonathan put it, break up.
Yeah.
But they were so gabby about how he had elevated his position with the jury. They were all extremely threatened by it.
Okay, next up, the reward challenge.
Yeah, 2 challenges. So here on day 22, they're going to have to, we saw this, many of the components of this last season.
I hate it when they have to spin.
Yeah.
Because, I hate nausea more than anything. And ugh.
Okay, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Was Maryanne hamming it up? There's a challenge at stake, but it seemed like that was way over the top to me. Yeah.
No, I don't think she was. Some people have better equilibrium than others. Mine is not good.
Yeah, but it was all about laughing and,
Well, why wouldn't you? I mean,
the others didn't.
Well, but they're not Maryanne. That's Maryanne.
Yeah.
That's just her personality.
I kind of thought she was hamming a bit for the camera there.
I don't think so. You saw how serious she was on the puzzle, so I don't think so. I don't think she okay. Not that Maryanne doesn't ham it for the camera. She does. I'm not debating that. I'm just saying I don't think that was... She was doing it deliberately to ham. I think she was still in the challenge. She wasn't trying to lose time by hamming it.
So they have to spin to unspool the rope that gets them to the point where they can drop the rope container and move on to obstacles, and then they've got to get a key off the middle of a balance beam, which is really hard after you've spun around and made yourself dizzy.
And then unlock the puzzle pieces to solve the puzzle.
Yeah.
But a food reward.
Grilled chicken and veggies versus cookies and cake.
Now, my first thought was, who's going to take cookies and cake over chicken and vegetables?
Yeah, but the producers put some extra thought into it.
Yeah. I felt they needed that out there. But were they... Well, we'll talk about it when we get there. I know you don't like for me to jump ahead with the whole take 2 or take 3, so we'll bring it up again when
We're almost there. Okay. If you could just exercise a tiny, teeny bit of patience.
I just said I was doing that.
I know, but it's fun to kind of remind you.
Yes, well, remember your rib cage is right up against me.
Yeah. What'd you think about Lindsay? She was rodeoing that rope to hang on the balance beam, wasn't she?
Hey.
Whatever works,
Whatever works. Yeah. Absolutely. You go, girl.
Jonathan was the first to get through and unlock his pieces and get started on the Compass Rose Puzzles, classic 3D puzzle.
Well, everybody pretty much, Lindsay had a little advantage, but they were all pretty much right there and into it, especially once she dropped and then they all started dropping. And so it was anybody's game at that point. Everybody had caught up. Everybody was doing it. And it was just I don't know. I have trouble calling that a puzzle. I guess it is, but
pieces have different shapes.
It just feels more kind of like a maze type thing to me than a puzzle per se. But
Wow, your definition of maze must be vastly different from mine.
Well, maybe. But you have to go through little obstacles courses to get to where you can put the ball in. So to me, that's maneuvering through a maze.
What ball? What are you talking about? Are you mixing the immunity and the reward challenge together?
Oh, am I?
No wonder that sounded foreign.
Oh, okay. I'm back with you.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take your word for it.
Whatever I said. Yeah.
So this was the compass rose. It looked like it had north, south, east, and west on it, and
I'm
built from the ground up. And
I'm still with you.
there were four poles that all the pieces slotted through. Not necessarily all the poles at once, but
Got it.
okay.
I remember it now. I just
And
jumped
we're
ahead.
back.
I just jumped ahead to that one for some reason. Okay.
Yeah, Maryanne started dead last, but it looked like she was making some good progress. And
Now,
then
do you agree the other one was amazing?
Omer was in the lead. And then he ends up finishing it. And he says 100% when Jeff asked him how sure he is. 100%? But he said it as a question.
Yep. Well, why wouldn't you say 100%?
But just not as a
Regardless.
question. You can say it with confidence, or you can make your answer be a question.
Yeah, either way, it still works.
He tells Jeff that you surprise yourself out here, and he was hoping that he could inspire his niece.
That was cool that Jeff
Yeah.
spoke to her.
Yeah, what a great moment.
You can do that way, Jeff. I like that fine.
That's fine. Yes.
yes,
Yeah,
that
was
that's
good.
nice, and I like that. And I
Although
think she'll get a kick.
The
out.
edit didn't seem to work. It was like he was looking at the wrong camera. So the way it jumped around,
I didn't notice that.
I think they
but-
boogered it a little bit, but it was a good moment.
Okay, so here is where Jeff says, if you take the grilled chicken and veggies, you can take 2 people with you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go for the cookies and the cake, you could take 3 people with you. Now, I thought it would be better to give 3 people the chicken and the veggies than to have the cake. But he saw it completely different from me in that
they put a
more
different
people
spin on
get
it.
a reward, and maybe more people were grateful to him. I thought that never works though. That won't save anything.
He says, Omer says he first picked Romeo because he had eaten nothing. Although, contrary to what we were shown last week, he seemed to be having extras of everybody's rice.
He's eating everybody's rice. Well, he's not had eaten on a reward, I guess is what
Omer
he
said
meant.
Maryanne could come because she was struggling and she clearly needs a meal. And then of the remaining 3, Mike, Jonathan, and Lindsay, Mike would benefit the most, so he got chosen.
Were you surprised he didn't take Lindsay?
Yes.
I thought he did that, and that he thought Lindsay would know why he did that was that he did not want the others to
throw
see
Mike
how
off.
close they were.
Mm.
And I think they wanted to throw Jonathan and Mike off the trail that they were, close.
Yep.
And so bringing her would have defeated that purpose. I thought that's why he didn't do it. I don't know that, but that was my
Jonathan and Lindsay are told they can go eat rice, and Omer says, I hope there's no backlash.
Well,
Romar?
Omar,
You've merged Romeo and Omer now?
I know, mate. I can't speak today. Told Jonathan and Lindsay to eat all of their rice for that day.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, ooh, some people may not be happy about that they were, though you would think they would be, that they'd give it up for the cake and stuff. But
Yep.
nutritionally, I don't know if that did them that much favor, because putting sugar into stomachs that haven't had any solid food, that would make me feel sick. So,
Yep. It can trigger an adverse reaction.
though, come on, it's chocolate.
Yeah.
I thought they would give them more cookies. It looked like they at most
so
had
we're
maybe 3 apiece.
Back at camp, and we get to see the cookies and chocolate, and it was a paltry plate of cookies.
Yeah, but a lot of cake.
It was a solid chocolate cake, and they did give them forks.
Yep.
And there were cups behind them, so that it seemed like there was something to drink. Although I
Hopefully it was milk. That would
didn't-
be a good.
didn't get I didn't notice it, so I'll have to go back and look.
Milk and cookies, at least that would be a little bit of protein to throw in there.
Yeah, to help balance it. To have a sip of milk. But
anyway,
they didn't
it was
waste any time digging in. They were tearing that cake up.
Yep, and it did look good. But
Omer tells us that he was more than willing to deprive Jonathan.
Yep, he didn't. Well, I thought that too. Of course, he's not going to take Jonathan. Nobody wants to feed him before an immunity challenge. They want him as weak as possible. And Omar admitted that.
And we see Lindsay and Jonathan talking as they're cooking up and then eating the rice.
Jonathan played that well. I'm not sure he's gotten enough credit for, thinking things through because, we showed some of the goofy things he didn't think through early on, but he's obviously been
They're showing
us
us more of a balanced look at his ability to reason things out now.
And that's probably more.
Lindsay tells us she's not bitter at the choice, and then Jonathan talks about how he's trying to fool her because he knows what her and Omar are up to.
And he knows she's trying to, make him feel safe, and he's trying to make her feel safe, and, so, Lindsay, and it worked. She bought it.
Lindsay tells us that Jonathan thinks it's Mike, but it's only if Jonathan isn't going home.
If he wins immunity, it's Mike, but otherwise it's you.
She has that same difficult conversation with Mike. Mike just wants to be told he's safe. She says, as long as Jonathan's going.
Yeah, that was a little iffy conversation to me, but
Jonathan doesn't win, it's you. And she's got an idol and that she has to use. It's expiring.
Yep. I'm not sure she should have reminded him of that because I don't think he really was thinking about it that much. That it had turned it into an idol when Drea left.
I don't think he had forgotten, but yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Okay, so Mike makes a deal with Maryanne that if you get me to the final 5, I'll play the idol for you and get you to final 4.
I like that bookend alliance, the oldest and the youngest. That was pretty cool. Yeah, so Mike makes a point of going to first Jonathan and telling Jonathan that Lindsay has an idol, which it appeared Jonathan wasn't aware, and then the same thing for Maryanne. And
Maryanne was most shocked.
She was shooketh for sure, yes. I think this really helped her make her mind up with what to do because that seemed like
she felt
Maryanne
hurt.
interpreted it as a betrayal.
Yeah, she felt hurt. She said that. I'm hurt.
I'm out of the loop. I'm hurt.
She thought she was closer with Lindsay, and she sees now that, oh, okay, guess not.
Lindsay was hurting her.
Yep, and so she took it that, she was using her, hurting her, and she was going to show him, I'm not a goat to be hurted. And she
wants to be a contender.
Had no clue Lindsay had an idol.
Okay, day 23, immunity challenge. Probst is surprised. Everybody's still smiling. You know why they're still smiling, Probst? It's only day 23, you doofus. You forgot. You cut a big slice of the season off. Well, he's thinking about the end. You're still smiling, and we're almost at the end.
Well, this is the new end, so it's still a long time when you're out there dealing with all that.
Jonathan does something you should never do. He proclaims that the immunity necklace is coming back to him.
Yep. And they all agreed with Jeff that this was the best and worst experience of their lives.
Okay, they're going to have to go over obstacles. They got to hop over 3 parkour. And then untie the steps in batches of 4 and then place those steps correctly. Now, one of the things that we were talking about while we were watching this was, hey, they've kind of simplified this.
Yeah, they made it easier in that they only gave them, 4 at a time, and it appeared that they were, the first 4
for that specific set of 4,
and then the next 4, which is a lot easier than when they just had a whole bunch of them planks and
had to sort them out top to bottom. Yeah.
So, and it's more logical. You got to put the ones at the bottom to get it further up.
Is this another example of the budget survivor?
I don't think
we don't have to pay the crew as long because it won't last as long.
No, I think it's just they don't want to make it last forever.
Like he needs to get back to the tent and FaceTime somebody.
No.
What? Okay.
You're being ornery tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they've definitely made it easier.
They did make it easier, that's for sure. But I still think it's challenging, and I don't think it takes away from the challenge. Then they have to,
Well, maybe it does, but maybe it's okay. Okay, Omer's the first to the top.
And now we get to my maze.
Yes, sure, your maze. The tilt-a-table with 2 balls that you got to land. You got to land the one closest to you first, and then the
How about
furthest
Lindsay
away.
getting up there first?
First to the table, yes.
But then everybody catches up, and they all start dropping, and, you don't know who's... But
Some good back and forth, right?
She and Jonathan were so neck and neck.
Good head-to-head. She dropped, then he dropped.
Cheering for him because I had him safe.
You were anxious, yeah.
So I was cheering for, go Jonathan, go Jonathan. But that did not happen. And Lindsay wins. Good on you, girl.
Jonathan said he was close, but in reality, he had dropped just before she landed. So he wasn't close. He was for a moment, and then he fell off the back,
and then it was gone.
He wasn't going to recover.
So here's the thing. They might want to start thinking about Lindsay as their big threat in the final 3. Mm-hmm. She's won a lot of immunity individual challenges. And so you guys might be smart to shine a light on her a little bit more, too.
Mike tells us it's now time for Plan B because he's convinced that Lindsay will use her idol, which is expiring, to save Omer.
Yep. Well, and I think she should have. If she's really tight with Omer like that, why not? I know what she said, that she didn't want it to come back into play. But the bottom line is that, Lindsay, it expires whether you play it or whether you don't.
Once again, we're like, 2 inches away from that actual discussion.
On your pad. No, we're not. We're here. And I just had it. So deal with it.
Congrats, Lindsay, as they get back from the immunity challenge. And Lindsay exclaims that she won it. She's thrilled. And Jonathan, too's convinced that she'll idol Omer. And so he's decided that he and Mike need to vote for Romeo.
Okay. You're way behind. Hurry up. Catch up.
And Omer says to Mike that Lindsay and Romeo and me on Jonathan. And Omer and Lindsay are talking about taking out Jonathan. And that's when Lindsay shares, as you were saying, that she's leaning towards not playing the idol to keep it from coming back. And then you made an excellent point.
I did.
Mm-hmm. Which was?
You said that. When I said that, I already said that.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
That it's going to expire one way or the other. Whether she plays it or it just expires, it's gone. They could put it back in circulation. Yes. Either way. So why
wasn't effectively
she
doing anything?
Protect someone with it.
Yes. And now, get some credit.
Yeah. But
a little bit of game credit, maybe?
She didn't. But the reasoning, I thought was kind of off. You thought it was a good point when I said it.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Okay.
We get to see Omer make fire. And I thought, is that foreshadowing?
I think I missed that.
Maybe it's going in a different direction. And Maryanne shares her plan to Mike.
I can use the extra vote.
Yep. Tell Jonathan to vote for Omer. Mike's like, no, let's put 4 on Romeo.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody knows she has the extra vote, obviously, because Lindsay and Omar want her to use it the way they want her to. But I liked it that she's thinking on her own, and she's going to play it however she wants to.
Is she really thinking on her own?
I think she is, yes.
Because if you flash back to the beginning...
I know Mr. Mike fed her a lot of information.
Nudged her, and then he gave her a good swift kick in the pants when he said, well, Lindsay's got an idol.
Yep.
And Maryanne seemed to completely shift gears onto Mike's plan.
True.
Let's get rid of Omer, even though Mike had switched his plan at this point.
She still came up with her own plan. she's still thinking what's best for her.
It was Mike's original plan.
She's not just going along with what Mike wants, obviously, because they've decided
to go after Romeo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, she's not going along with that. She's still thinking
But
on
Mike
her
laid
own.
all that groundwork.
He did. Good on Mike.
It's just he doubled back. He went another direction.
He went back to the paranoia, him and Jonathan.
Because they thought that she was going to play it.
Well,
that Lindsay was going to play it for Omer and save him.
They should have thought that, because really that would have been a really great move. And I don't know why Omar didn't just say that. Oh, no, I think it's going to expire either way. Why not play it for me? And then we know we're both safe.
Guess he didn't want to be too indebted to her?
I just think they didn't think about it.
Yeah, probably.
Or that they were so confident that they were blindsiding Jonathan, they didn't think they needed it. Survivor overconfidence.
Yeah.
I really think that's a big part of it. He didn't think he needed it. She didn't think he needed it. No big deal.
Well, it turned out Maryanne didn't really need Mike and Jonathan either.
No, she didn't.
She tells us she's got to make this move.
They didn't trust Romeo. They didn't want to vote the way she did. I thought that was pretty awesome to, make ties. And at the worst case scenario, they could have revoted.
Mm-hmm. Tribal Council Night 23. We got the thunder. We got the lightning. Here comes the rain. Probe says you guys are all about intensity. Well,
it is Tribal Council, Jeff.
Yeah. Omer says, well, that last Tribal Council, the last Tribal Council was pretty outrageous. Yeah, it was, wasn't it, Omer? You got outed really hard. And Annie says they're dreading the rain, which starts dropping at that point.
Yeah. Oh, can you just imagine having to go there in the rain and then have to go back to camp in the rain and be
soaking
all
wet? Yeah.
Ugh.
Mike tells us there's just nowhere to hide and there's only a few people to talk to. Like implicitly he's saying, well, we've run out of things to discuss.
Yep.
So imagine if it went on longer, Mike, how much more difficult it could be. Romeo says the dynamics are changing. People are focused on final three. Lindsay agrees, but Omer says, well, by looking over at the jury, I'd say we've had people looking at final three for quite a while now.
Yeah, looking at the long game.
Mm-hmm. Taking out the big threats.
And Maryanne pointed out that some people might not have felt like they had that wiggle room to start with.
An option until now. Yeah.
Until later. And then that's when they were able to make.
She says it all, it's relative is what she's essentially saying. It depends on where you are in the tree. If you're on a low branch down near the ground, then...
She's already working the jury.
Yeah.
And Lindsay tells us she's confident in those that she trusts, and she hopes they're confident too.
Mm-hmm. That was nice. Get to look at that with some hindsight now.
And Jonathan points out, well, somebody's being lied to. It's not been a clean sweep yet.
Oh, yeah, and just before that, that's when Omer gave us that line, Survivor Confident. He said, you never know how you'll be perceived, but right now, he was Survivor Confident.
Yeah.
As best as he could. Yeah.
Survivor Confident, smash, splat.
Yeah.
That's how that often turns out.
Lindsay's thinking it might be a clean sweep. And Maryanne says, well, the shot in the dark and the...
and all the idols, there's no way to do a clean sweep anyway.
Puts a really hard twist on that.
And then Omar says, I could be on the receiving end of a blind side, but you could tell he didn't believe it.
Right.
It's like, yeah, more so than
no advantages or idols are played.
Yeah, kind of surprising. We all thought, oh, this one's going to play that.
I was certainly thinking we were going to get a idol advantage again here, but no, that was not the case. Just the complete opposite.
Yeah, Maryanne didn't, Lindsay didn't, and Mike didn't. But at least Maryanne did use her extra vote effectively.
Yeah.
Yay, Maryanne.
Yeah, good job, Maryanne. It came down to 2 for Jonathan, 2 for Romeo, 2 for Omer, and then Omer was out. And he turned to her immediately and he said, you did it?
And she said, I did.
Yes. He asked Lindsay, did you know? No. Lindsay asked if he knew. And then Omer says, no. Once again, I was Survivor confident.
Yep.
And Probst tells us the final 5 are off to a new camp. So they're basically
starting over.
Doing
Last time they told him they would have less supplies. He didn't say that this time.
No, he didn't, did he? Mm-mm. But I imagine they will. It'll just be the basics.
I hope not. They're already on
24, 25, 26, and it's done. So.
Okay, you ready for next on?
Just a quick summary. What did you think overall?
I thought it was a really good episode. I was excited to see a blind side and yet oddly disappointed too.
Yes, because I guess he had finally been recognized for the power player that the edit had been showing us all along.
Yes.
And then he's gone.
That's like.
So it's like, oh,
I got a point. Oh,
yeah, I got a vote out point, but I almost didn't. I wish he didn't go because he added.
We were both hoping we would lose a point.
I guess we were in a way because he adds so much to everything,
before
right?
It started. Well, we hope we lose a point because we both made our picks separately, and then I said, "Okay, did you do yours?" And you said, "Yeah," and I said, "Okay, I did mine. Who'd you pick?" And we both picked him. And but we both said, I hope he doesn't go, though. I'd really like to see him in the end and have people ask him questions.
She had raised his threat level and all the things people were talking about in the listener feedback show. I kept mulling those over. And, he just seemed like the superstar left in the game.
Yeah. But now we see that Maryanne's playing more, Lindsay, and even
she's really
Jonathan's
engaged.
Doing.
Yeah.
And Romeo was actually visible in the challenges doing something.
Yeah, that's true.
So have they just not been showing him working hard at the challenge, or did he just decide he might want to step it up? I don't know which is true.
An opportunity that things may look brighter for him.
I don't know.
The further he keeps slipping by, and this is another one of those gates he just slipped right on.
Felt like he was really trying.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and Mike's playing hard too. So I think.
Isn't he the top threat now? That's the way it reads to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is why I said, pay attention to the beginning, and then let's look at the end result. And the way the edit played out for this episode, he caused all that to happen, even though he chose a different path right at the end.
Yeah.
To focus on Romeo, but to me,
didn't follow through though. That bothers me slightly that he didn't follow through. But I understand he was making the best choice he could because he so didn't trust Romeo. And this way, they would have had the option, if there was a tie, Maryanne could have evened it out by not playing the vote.
Yeah. The thing is that I could give Mike more credit for all this. She made it happen. She was the agent of action. Mm-hmm. But it seemed like Mike really called the shot and patiently nudged and then shoved a little by sharing the whole Lindsay's got an idol thing, which brought that house of Taku cards down in the end.
And they finally showed us how close Lindsay and Omar really were. Mm-hmm. And how much they were playing together. And, she took
a big hit here.
Oh, she took a huge... She's on the outs now, I think.
Yeah.
Lindsay.
Yeah. So she voted wrong. She lost her best ally that could... they could have worked together to the end if they were willing to do that.
That doesn't mean Maryanne won't work with her.
True.
Just because she was hurt by her. She'll get over that. If she thinks it'll get her further in the game, I think she probably would work with her. But...
Possibly, yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes when people's feelings get hurt that way and you perceive them as a close ally and friend, you are less likely to trust them again.
Maybe.
Unless you can get over the hurt quickly.
There doesn't seem to be a sense of permanence with her.
No, I know.
She's just flitting around all the time. Maryanne, that is.
But at least I'm happy to know that every single one of them, with maybe the exception of Romeo, are really thinking hard about what is my best path to the final three and to getting a win. Not just getting to the final three, but with people I think I could beat.
Is this the first time he got the vote right? I guess maybe he got the vote right in Ika once or twice. I think this is the first time since the merge he's actually been in on the vote out.
Well, yes, but Romeo votes how he's told.
Right. Again, it doesn't appear that he has agency.
He does have some choice in who to go with. He could have gone with them and voted out Jonathan. He was actually the swing vote.
Possibly, huh?
Or maybe the swing vote was Maryanne because she had two. So, but either way.
So you think he might not be just herded to his 85,000? He's putting a little effort in.
I don't know if I go all that far.
Yeah, it just
but
looks like he's on easy street.
He's been dragged along just because he was a no threat.
Yeah.
And because Maryanne seems to have been working with him legitimately along.
She didn't really have a choice, but yes.
Well, you always have a choice, but I think she felt like they were in the bottom together, and they were both, hanging
certainly
in there
felt
together.
like they executed the Survivor flip she was talking about a couple episodes back.
But am I sorry to see Omar go? Yes. Am I happy to get a vote out point?
Sure.
Yes. But I would probably rather have seen him in the finals.
It would have been more exciting.
He's very deserving.
Yeah.
But I still think
He's so dynamic.
Don't think it won't be exciting without him.
True.
With the people left. I still think they're starting to show us more and more of their actual gameplay and their thoughts. And because I really thought Jonathan was buying Lindsay's act, but he's not. He wasn't.
Right. He was on tour.
But he was doing a good job of pretending to, I think, and totally convinced her.
Seemed to, yeah.
Oh yeah, I know it's Mike. Yeah. So I think he's playing a lot more and a lot harder than they've shown us. All of them are, except maybe Romeo.
I finally saw Mike as potentially, he was playing on a level up there where Omer has been for so long. If he was playing this effectively before, like when he was partnered with High and they were making their moves, it really seemed more like High was a shot caller and Mike was tagging along happy.
He was up there this episode.
Yeah. For sure.
Other episodes are not so much.
Yeah, I'm not making it retroactive. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was very exciting to see that they put it together. At this point, for any of them to pull it together, because I believe genuinely that Lindsay and Omar had a go to the final.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be
alliance.
interesting to see what he says in the interviews.
Yeah, if they really did. But I don't think for a second if the only way to get there was to get rid of the other one that they wouldn't do that. They both would, as they should. But anyway, I'm still a little sad to see him go.
Yep, bittersweet, and looking forward to seeing how Mike, Jonathan, Lindsay, Maryanne work things out in the finale. Okay, time for another listener reward bonus question. What's the first name of the castaway known for saying shooketh and shizzle sticks? So we just need the first name. You can go to Paul's visual roster, find the first name of the castaway you think is the answer to that question. And then when you log in to make your picks for JSFL, you go over to answer question and you enter that name. Now be careful, some folks missed out on the point for the last listener reward bonus question because they had an extra space or some extra characters in there, or they typed more than just the first name in the context of their answer. We just want their first name spelled exactly the way it is on Paul's visual roster. Same guidance as last time. This is a listener reward bonus question. Please don't post this on Facebook. Please don't share it. It's a bonus you get because you're a listener of the podcast. That's it. That'll get you an extra point in the fantasy league. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. Let's talk about next time on Survivor.
Alrighty then.
Looks like they're scrambling for that advantage. You remember last season they gave them an advantage before the challenge?
Erica got that.
Where they had a little bit of a head start in a
tiny
challenge.
bit, but it was
like
enough.
A couple sections that were, that they got to
help
skip.
her.
Yeah, it did seem like it did.
Yeah, so.
I assume they were looking for a challenge, although the way Lindsay described it, it sounded like she thought it was going to be an idol to save her.
Lindsay says, if I don't find it, I'm going home.
Yeah. So I don't know you would say that for the advantage, but you would certainly say that if you thought it was an idol. Romeo shows us that he has made a fake idol, so okay, there's more evidence that
Which looked like the other bracelets he had on his arm.
That turns out that's, according to Ricard, that's what the idols have looked like in 41 and 42, with the exception of like an extra bead on them.
Okay. Well, Maryanne says Jonathan won't be here tomorrow.
Okay.
However, that could be a ploy.
Yeah.
Or it could be real.
Yeah, sure.
There is
I wouldn't
no
be
way
surprised
to
see her get a little bit of a big head after pulling that one off, though. Sending Omer to visit Drea.
Jonathan uses one of the titles of the other episodes that it's going to be a battle royale.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think?
Mike's going to fight to the bitter end.
Yeah.
How's it going to play out? Lordy, lordy.
Okay, that's probably too much. That's a little overwhelming, but what's your ideal final three, and what's the worst case final three, given these five?
I'm totally discounting Romeo.
Yep.
So.
Okay. That's fine.
I'd almost like to see Mike, Maryanne, and Jonathan.
That's your ideal?
Though Lindsay is so deserving.
Yeah.
I'd kind of like to see her as well.
Mine's Mike, Lindsay, Maryanne, I think.
I would be okay with that.
That's kind of what's left. That would be the most interesting to see him battle out. What's the least interesting?
Romeo, Jonathan, Maryanne.
Who wins that one?
Probably Maryanne.
Because she's got a little more strategy. She's got a feather?
No, because I think people like her. And they've kind of gotten,
They soured on Jonathan because he got crabby?
Well, Drea says they made up.
Yeah.
And all of that. But you could tell, like, when Drea was like, Maryanne, you just be you, honey. That they like her. They don't always like to listen to her. But I'm sure she's grown on them. So I think she's very likable. I think she's like Mike. She's very likable. But I think Lindsay could be likable, too. And even Jonathan, in his way. But I don't know if Jonathan
it's such a huge thing
and Romeo have done enough that the jury has seen.
Jonathan just being there, though. His physical presence to have actually made it to the end.
Well, yeah, that would be.
That alone is huge, and I know that's going to be, from what he's shared already, that would be central to his story. The question is it enough?
Yeah.
Is there some other things that he can point to? Because if Lindsay's in the jury, she's going to turn him inside out.
He has won enough things that I think he's deserving. I think every single person is deserving except maybe Romeo. He just seems to have been the one that was carried along. I could be wrong. They may have just edited it that way, but that's what we saw. So that's how I feel. I'd be excited if Mike won too. I think he's deserving.
Yeah, especially after seeing
why
his
would
impact.
They let him get there, really?
Yeah, exactly. After seeing the impact here. You know what would Jonathan's play, one of his best plays, because again, Lindsay and Omer, but Lindsay's would have the ability to just turn him inside out. She could destroy him from the jury.
You think? Would she be that cutthroat?
Well, she may. I think she probably would want to help him understand.
In good humor.
Yeah, help him understand how he was there. But here's the thing: if he said, "My best play was being an ally with you," because you're right, I couldn't do it when it came right down to it. I couldn't do the strategy just like I couldn't do that triangle puzzle in the beginning. But my physical ability and what I was able to bring to the tribe, along with being able to partner with smart people like you and Omer and Mike, is what got me here.
Well, here's what
He could make a great case for himself in that sense.
Maybe. But here's what I think will happen. Is that now that
open mouth, insert foot.
Yeah. Now that Omar is out of the way.
Yeah.
I think
I'm gonna go hard into the paint again.
Huh?
Jonathan's gonna get the big head and make a strategic move and go hard into the paint and foul it all up.
No, okay. I think Maryanne, Lindsay, and Romeo are going to take out the two bigger guys if they can. They're still going to want. They're not going to want Jonathan to win in the finals, and for him to be the one who says who makes fire or who does, they're not going to want to give him that power. So I think they're still going to target him.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to realize, wait, Mike is really liked, and Andrea said he'd win, and we got to get him out. So I think they're going to try at least to get those two out, and the three of them pulled together as the underdogs, even though I think they should go for Lindsay.
Yeah.
But
you don't want to sit by her if you can help it.
yeah. But anyway, I kind of think that's how it might go.
Do you think the idols are going to play a role? Is Mike going to play an idol for Maryanne while she has one that she can secretly play for someone else?
Oh, my goodness.
To control the outcome a second time?
Okay, here's the thing, though, is that Mike did not tell Maryanne he would give her the idol.
Right. He said he would play it for her.
She can't do anything with the idol. If he does play it for her, then she could give her idol to protect someone else.
Right, to control the outcome.
Yes. That's the only way, though, is if Mike really does play it for her. If he doesn't, then she'd have to use her idol.
She could do a
to save
boomerang
herself.
backfire, yes.
So she could just sit back and wait for Mike to get up and say, I'm playing this for Maryanne, or, sorry, Maryanne, I'm playing this for myself.
And then she plays it for Romeo, because that's who they were going to take out. And then Jonathan goes.
Not if Mike doesn't
goes.
play it for her. She's going to play it for herself.
Yeah.
But yes, if Mike does play it for her, then yeah, she'll give it to someone.
And then Mike
she
goes
wants
or
to
Jonathan
protect,
goes.
and,
Yeah. Depending on who's available.
Oh, that would be awful for Mike to go out that way.
Well, that would be huge for her, though.
Oh, yep.
It would be huge for her.
Okay, that would be another feather in her
That would
cap.
be feather number 2. Yes.
Yeah. So.
Okay, how about a JSFL update?
Oh, goodness, I'm still working.
You're reeling?
On my final 5 order.
Yeah.
And, of course, have no clue, and we'll change it 5,000 times before Wednesday. Okay, JSFL, 40 people lost their USB. 112 people lost a safe point. 79 people gained a vote-off point.
Okay.
There's one person who's in first place in the side challenge with 54 points, Laurel, 53 Jeremiah, 52 Cold Mike, 51 Rebecca, 48 Stacy, 47 Drew, 46 Parker, and 44 Justin and Robert.
Well, I can see Drew's headed in the right direction again. So he's got some buddies in the basement he might be paying a visit to
you're
at the
right
end.
there with him. What are you talking?
Oh no, I'm solidly in the middle.
You're 1 point above Drew.
I'm ascending.
1 point. You're not ascending.
I ascended above Drew.
You're 6 points below the first place person.
Yes.
6.
Okay.
Okay.
I can make
Drew's
that up.
only 1 below you.
Mm-hmm.
And Justin and Robert are only 4 below you. So
Only 4.
only 4. So
Well, the good news is there's quite a bit of points to be made up at the end.
that is a given.
Do not give up.
Final 5 order is a possible 55 points.
Not counting anything you
Plus
might still have
any
for USB.
We
Yeah.
don't have one, so
Yeah.
0 zip in that area for
Right.
us. But some of you do, and some of you have USB 24 still in the game.
We've been having some great listener feedback shows. We'd love to have you come join this next one. Hear your comments on the penultimate episode before we head into the finale and your predictions for how it's all going to play out. You can call the voicemail line 206-350-1547, toll free 844-643-8737. You can record an audio comment and send it in email, or you can write it up and we'll read it into the show on your behalf. The email address, joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays. Get it in as early as you can and keep it in that 3-minute range.
Alrighty. 1 more week.
Yeah, it's coming down to it. I'm excited. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, at least they announced it's coming back in the fall along with Amazing Race as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we'll talk more about that when we do the wrap-up at the end, the last listener
Alrighty.
feedback show.
Sounds good.
Have a good one.